member comments? A comment that a lot of the steps that you are when we do more work on the innovation step, a lot more about which people should be involved in the steps, how to create teams, and that should happen synchronously, and how close they should be building on from other innovations that have been done. So just to add that.
Sure. Thank you.
I just want to underscore this issue about the boxes, and I think it is something, it's very relevant to your work plan. And part of your cooperative agreement with USA is, and it's required, to identify the groups, the populations, the systems, the target areas, as we're calling them, and units of measure. And making that explicit raises everyone's comfort level that it's actually going to happen, and it's going to happen at the right point in a process. Frameworks can take years to develop, and I think, has anyone counted? I think we've seen 15 different frameworks today. So there's really, I think we're at the point where really that sort of sequencing and layering, I really applaud what that group is saying, because it's trying to make the abstract and the concrete come together. And to me, that's really what this very well-designed workshop and the next breakout sessions are going to be about.
Thank you very much.
Great. Can we have group number 4 after applause? Group 4?
And partially because that's where the other group ended up, so I think a lot of what we're going to say is kind of building off some of the comments that were made. So one of the things, and Catherine just mentioned this, is when you have your work plan, you also have kind of something that holds you accountable. And one of the big assumptions that we came in with is that there will be follow-through on the things that are articulated here. And while that sounds kind of arbitrary and potentially just kind of a no-brainer, that's why it's a precondition and an assumption. And kind of along those lines, another thing is the informed human resources. So one of the things that we kind of brought over and over again and brought up in our groups, the fact that, it's really important that everyone kind of knows what you're talking about, and that there's kind of a streamlined messaging when it comes to participants, when it comes to universities, when it comes to local governments and national governments, if that's something that we choose to kind of integrate. And then another thing that I think kind of builds off of that is that relates really closely to this tapping of indigenous resources that we've been talking a lot about, and this localization of knowledge and of expertise that is kind of being married with something that's a little bit heavier and academic and wonkish. Not sure if the word is appropriate here. And then there are 2 other key assumptions that I'll leave you with. One is, we really wanted to hammer home something that was quite stark in one of Key's presentations this morning, which was the amount of students we're reaching. I think in the network as a whole, it's something like 800,000 undergraduates alone. So one of the things that was mentioned in our group was that, when effectively trained, students and recent graduates are really the most effective ambassadors of the messages and the innovations, what comes out of them. So that's something that we really wanted to kind of hammer home. And then finally, and this I think is a really important point, is we had a bit of a debate in our group about who owns the intellectual property that comes out of this discussion. And that's something that I think really needs to be negotiated. Our big question was, does this need to be negotiated by the innovators and the universities? Is this something that should be open source and available for everyone? And we didn't really come to a conclusion there, but I think that making sure that that is kind of dealt with right at the get-go is something that will be incredibly important. My answer.